Mastwaar, Mastwaar.
MashaAllah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa barik wa sallam. All praise is due to our Maker, our Creator, who has made us, who has created us, and for us to recognize one reality. What is the reality of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah as servants of our Creator? He gave us a witness, our beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He is the mercy for mankind, and through His grace, subhanallah, we're able to sit together in the month of Ramadan, and we're able to sit, fast for the sake of Allah, and recognize that we are able to realize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, realize the sacred secrets of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam while living on earth in our existence, in our bodies, and going into the inner realm of our souls. This is our purpose. Our purpose is self-realization. And that self-realization that we talk about through our spiritual masters and the fakirs of Khuda and the awliya Allah, from the Sahaba Ikram, all of it was leading down to this understanding, the sacred secret of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the light of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, people come from all different backgrounds, as we have different brothers here and sisters here that may not be coming from the faith of the Muslim background. But that doesn't mean that we don't accept that there was a messenger, a prophetic embodiment of love that came onto the planet Earth, and to have us recognize what it meant to have mercy to mankind on earth for all the people. So the way Pir Sahib has explained it to us as well, what is a witness and what is mercy of mankind? Now, a little bit of mercy for a human being to have for one another. If I have mercy for you and you have mercy for me, even that mercy that you have, this is the mercy to mankind. This is when you are saying the Durood Sharif, you're doing the salawat, and you are understanding and feeling the salawat. When you start feeling it, you start feeling what that mercy really is. And then when you truly embody La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, then you start seeing that reflection that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to actually show us. This is why when we have the tariqah, when we have our sharia, and under the umbrella when we go into the tariqah, in the tariqah you start being taught what? The worship that you did prior, the understanding of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. First you recited it. Now in the tariqah you're being shown the witnessing of that understanding of La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. So our kalama is not just something because we said it and we became a Muslim. No, it's an embodiment. It's an embodiment of a truth. And it's an embodiment of such a truth that the deeper you go into the realm of doing your wazaif, the deeper you go into doing the salawat, you start feeling the witness that He is with you wherever you are. And this is our belief. The problem even today in the ummah is that the enemies of the ummah wanted to remove the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam from our hearts. So when the love was removed, basically the faith was removed. When the faith was to bring the faith into the shahada, it was not simply just to believe in something and just follow some rules and regulations, but there was something there. There was something that we are missing now in today's world, which is love, muhabbat. That muhabbat, that intense muhabbat that you should have for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's lacking. The intense love that you should have for your Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's lacking. The understanding that how much Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved the entire ummah and entire mankind, and then his sahabas, he blessed them so they can propagate the message. Now today we have different believers. They are saying things they shouldn't say about this sahaba, or this sahaba is better than the other, and there's all this fasad which shouldn't be there either. And then the belief in Ahl Bayt, that also got removed from the picture, meaning that you believe in the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That was also taken out. But that was our aqeedah, that we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then He gave us Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. From there, Sahabas propagate the message, and He left behind the Quran and His Ahl Bayt. And the Ahl Bayt had the secret of the Quran, and then they would represent the Quran by embodying the Quran and bringing that lifestyle back into the Ummah. Now we have individuals practicing their own, faith the way they want to, but they still don't feel the pleasure, the sukoon, the sakina, the ecstasy, the bliss, the actual experience of zikr. We say we do zikr of Allah. People like to do muraqaba. But how do you actually start feeling that within your own lives as an individual? The proper aqidah is first, that you must know who you are. It's just, as a Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then to follow the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, the people of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, who would then awaken the hearts back to the light of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And then we would be sitting in the majlis of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam once again. So like, as I traveled with Pir Sahib across Pakistan and different countries, what I saw was every home, mashallah, was, it was decorated with the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was so beautiful to see. You can even feel the illuminated homes. You can feel no depression there. And they have much barakah, whether it's financial or whether they're just happy. And then they might not even have too much financial gain. But even in their little homes, when you walk in and the hospitality they offer you, the love that they have, the care that they have, and the true love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they have, you can see that the iman goes a long way. That your iman in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is part of being a Muslim, part of being in Islam. And everything that we have today, like there's nonsense arguments that you should follow the Quran, you should do this, you shouldn't do this. But just from a logical perspective, as a true believer, just a logical perspective, where did the Quran come from? Who did it come to? Whose sunnah are we following? And why is it that we are ignoring the one that everything was revealed upon? The milad or Maulid Sharif are being, removed from people's homes. There's people just talking all sorts of stuff, trying to negate the fact that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the embodiment of love. And then nowadays there's a whole propaganda to get societies away from all types of different Sufi Silsila or Sufi orders, only because they have love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam a little bit more than others. And then there's just a lot of fasad going on in the world. But we're living in the end of times. As you see, our brothers and sisters in Palestine are suffering very heavily. And it's something that we cannot even fathom, that it's happening right in front of our eyes. And it's unbelievable that nothing is being done about it. And look how long it's been. So it shows you different signs at what time we're living in. And Pir Sahib says that focus on your children. Give them the mahal. And the time that you have left on this earth, do as much Allah as you can. Do your ibadat, know your aqidah, and you never know when the time will end. We don't know when the time will go. We don't know when any of us will die, but it's surely known that we will die. There's going to be a time that all of us are going to go away from this world. So why are we here, and what are we doing with our lives, and what is it? What is priority now? And this is very important, to decorate your homes with iman. Decorate your homes with faith. Give the environment to your children. All this outside, wherever we're going to school nowadays, all that's being shown on social media, or, kids are watching random things on YouTube, different video games, the way they talk, the way they behave, different languages that they're speaking. Our kids are picking that up like a magnet, and they're unable to speak the language of truth because we're not giving them that enough. We're not properly guiding our children. We're not giving them the right environment. We're only doing as much as we can as parents, but make the mahal. And like I saw in Pakistan, subhanallah, like a silsila is nothing but something that will revive the name of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, revive the name of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, revive the iman in our hearts. And the biggest thing is, you or any Sufi Gnostic, when they talk about true worship, they're talking about that you're going deeper within yourself. Some people are very heavily interested in knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they should. Everybody should really want to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on an individual level. Like Bibi Rabia Basri used to say, her dua. Look at this dua. Oh Allah, if I worship you from the fear of hellfire, if I worship you from the fear of hellfire, throw me in the hellfire. If I worship you for the reward of heaven or for the desire for heaven, take away heaven from me. But if I worship you just to know you, and if I praise you to see you, please don't take that away from me. Please don't take away. So that shows you that this body is an illusion. This dunya is an illusion. This is not forever. We have maybe 100 years, not even. In today's world, the food that we have, you know, it all over the world, we don't have enough mentality to be so healthy. And, you know, the way the world is going nowadays, we don't know how long we're going to last. We see people die the next day. There was a brother, we didn't even know he was going to pass away. He was 21 years old in Pakistan, died in front of our eyes. You know, that makes you realize that every single one of us are going to die. But what are we here? We're decorating our egos. We're worshiping ourselves. Forget everything else. We talk about shirk so much, right? Number one shirk that the Sufi Silsilas teach you, you're worshiping yourself. You're idol worshiping. Which is the biggest idol? Yourself. You're suffering from worshiping yourself. You're suffering from filling this empty pot into putting something in there so you can mimic whatever went inside of you, and now you can wear that mask, walk around in public, and act like something that you're not. You're putting on a mask, you're acting like you're something that you're not. Rather, we were made to remain empty within, and the only thing this heart belongs to is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing belongs in here. No ambitions, no desires, nothing should be there. But truly, genuinely, sincerely, with loyalty, that you desire nothing but truly knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put situations or all around you, environment will change. Your environment, your home environment, your entire life will change all around you. Why? Because your zikr is perfect. And only Allah knows if your zikr is perfect or not. And what does zikr mean? It's to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wholeheartedly. It's to recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's in tariqah when you become bad, for example, all the murids. That's a murid with Pir Sahib. When you went from taking bath, now all the namazes that you did, now what happens in tariqah? Now the level of marifat comes in. What is marifat? Marifat means pehchan of Allah, recognition of Allah, recognition of all the Surah Fatiha that you recited, recognition of who you're standing in front of when you do salah, recognition of the Quran that you're reading, recognition of the human beings that are around you. All this is now a part of marifat. And from marifat, the last level that is taught in your tariqat is haqiqat. What is haqiqat? What is behind this curtain? What is behind this body? What is actually the wisdom behind salah? What is the wisdom of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? When you close your eyes in meditation, where are you going? What are you seeing? And you're not living in an imaginary hocus pocus, miracle working, light working, spiritual world. No, but you are completely surrendering, and a sincere submission that I was talking to Zumar about the other day. He brought up a good point that what we need for a true, sincere change to take place in our lives is that we should sincerely submit and surrender. This is key, that we should have a sincere surrender and submission. Even if a mustard seed of false reality, ego is left in your hearts, you must focus on that, witness it, and remove that filth, because until you become completely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's light will not reflect into your heart the way you want to see in His presence. The reality of Allah takes place for those people that truly, genuinely, sincerely surrender their selves, their ego selves, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of understanding, to see the truth of the kingdom of the heart, to see the reality for the moment, for the believer, that in the heart is the home of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you look at Hadith Qudsi, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about His lovers? He says, the one that loves, I'm summarizing this, the one that loves me, I become the eyes that he sees with, the tongue that he speaks with, the hands that he works with, the feet that he walks with. If you just put a little bit of contemplation about what's happening there, you understand that reality when you sit in front of an insan kamil, when you start sitting in the sohbats of sheikhs, when you sit in a sohbat of silsila or of zikr of Allah, you start to feel the reality that, subhanallah, all that is within me, that is ego, when it is removed, it becomes an empty pot. And when it becomes an empty pot, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will fill. And then whatever comes, because you get so strong in your zikr and your yaksui in meditation. Yaksui meaning fixed concentration. You worked so hard on your nafs, taskiya nafs, that you went opposite your nafs. Everything that your nafs offered you, you went against it. Nafs meaning ego. You went against your ego. Everything that your nafs offered you, all the desires that your ego offered you, you had such strong belief and such iman, you were able to witness it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed you the reality of it, and then you were able to not let that enter your cup. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's light will enter the cup. This is all work, just like you work on your diets in this dunya. That nothing filthy should go into my stomach because it's going to ruin my health. Similarly, it is very essential, the priority you should give to your spiritual health. It is very essential. What are you doing for the sake of your heart? What are you doing for emptying your heart from all other ambitions and desires and now focusing on only the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entering there? And this is not genuinely, wallahi, this is not magic, this is not some just talk. This is something every single individual has the attribute of recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they should be thirsty for recognizing God, recognizing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And recognizing the wisdom that la ilaha, that I'm cutting myself out. When I say la, I'm saying I am nothing. I truly believe it then when I say it. Don't just say things and don't believe in it. I believe that I don't exist. Only Allah exists. And the reward that I got from it was the reflection of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I was able to see his reality within myself. When I saw it within myself, then it became haqiqat that he does exist. This is my iman, this is my faith. And I was able to see the reality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who showed me the reality of the Sahabas, who showed me the reality of the awliya Allah, who showed us the reality, what's going to happen when we die. Then we do believe, then that's iman. That's haqiqat that will make you from going from iman all the way level up to ihsan, where you see the witnessing of the reality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's faith that we are all under the umbrella of. We're not outside of that umbrella. All the Muslim deeds that you're doing, why are you doing it? It is very essential that we understand why you are a Muslim. Muslim meaning believer. You are a Muslim, that you have iman, that you are the witness that Allah is your Rabb. He is your creator. And then you have iman that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is the one that gave us this message, not just a message. He gave us something very sublime, and he will give you something very sublime if your iman, if your faith is true. Many YouTubers, we're not going to talk about any names, but this part is being left out. This part is being left out there, that you are not recognizing the love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They say, don't love Rasul too much. Don't do this too much. What is love? Why do you love your kids so much? Should you just love them a little bit, calculate how much you should love them? No. We're talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We love our spouses, we love our families. So why are we not understanding that what is this height of the pinnacle of ishq with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Yes, you should be so much in love with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that your character changes. That character takes place upon you. And then he will guide you. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then he guides you in his methods. He says that this son of mine, this daughter of mine belong to that son of mine in that part of the country. He will be studying under them, and they will receive their reward that I have for them through them in this dunya. Meaning that when you go to the wali of Allah, when you sit with the awliya Allah, then they become the propagators of the Rasul's message in physical form. We don't have Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam here. We have all their books. We are trying our best to figure out Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when you have that thirst, wallahi, wallahi, Allah himself, Rasul himself, will send you to one of his people that are from his family, that will awaken your heart and for you to see the reality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam within your own experience. We are talking about direct experience, brothers and sisters. We're not talking about that I give a speech, you should listen, you should be a good boy, good girl, go home and pray your salah, do your zikr, don't do things that are good deeds, fine. But what about your direct experience with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What about your direct experience with awakening to the light of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and understanding what is going on here? What was this sacred wisdom of our beloved Creator? Why are we here? Why is there so many colors of people? Why is there so many different religions? Why is there so many different types of belief systems? Why is there so many different mountains and planets and colors and roses? We have to understand the essence of Allah. That's what we're coming down to. The essence of Allah. What's happening behind the scenes. And the way it begins is you have complete faith, a true faith, proper aqidah. Do not get into arguments because arguments don't go anywhere. Do not argue. Just focus on your own light. Focus on the nur of Allah which is within your heart. And everything that you are working on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will change your language system. He will turn your language of the language of love. He will take you from this dunya and He will put you into His own valley. You will still live in this world. You will balance between, like Pir Sahib says, the formula. When I asked him, how do I balance the two worlds? He said the heart remains in the remembrance of Allah and the hands remain busy in the work of the world. Because now, the one whose heart becomes awakened has a very big responsibility in the society, in the ummah, because now they see from the wisdom. They see in wisdom in all things. They just don't look at the physicality and they just don't simply use only logic. Now they have logic and they also have love, and that love illuminates their logic. Now you have different branches in your logic. Now you become so awakened that you can see how you can completely encompass the entire earth and change it globally. And entirely understand the entire story of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He wanted. And that what He wanted, the essence is muhabbat. This is what it comes down to, muhabbat. Muhabbat is what? Love. That's it. Love is the caravan. No matter where you come from, it doesn't matter. Who am I to judge you? Who am I? Who are we to judge one another? The core is this. As Maulana Rum has said that if you start looking for faults in one another, you will never have any friends. You will never. Who are you? If you have a veil, a thick veil over your eyes, that means that you have a separation. What is a separation? You have your identity and then you believe in a separate identity, which is my brother, my sister. Fine, they're physically here. But the one that goes deeper into zikr, that becomes annihilated in zikr, completely formless, completely into nothingness, and completely, like there's a story I will share with you guys next week, but he says that in this mind, for example, anything that goes in, you want more. You're like a beggar. You want more. Even if you were given the entire planet and all the treasures, if you were to take this skull and you turn it around and clean it up a little bit, it's like a begging bowl. It will never ever stop desiring more. It will always want more. So what is the lesson in that story? Which I'm just summarizing it. We can go through the whole story another day. That the beggar will never stop begging. But until you become content with having nothing, you will never be happy. Because as soon as you enter the dominion of nothingness, this is la mawjood state, no thing, only Allah. When you remain in that state, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open Himself up to you. When you go in absolute nothingness, this is a state of stillness. And that's what even they say in Sufism, Sufi is the person of the moment. They don't worry about what's going to happen in the future, because that's begging for more. And they don't worry about the past. Whatever happened, as Allah willed. There's a different type of beggar in Sufism called a fakir. Fakir is arrested by God. These Qalandars, like Pir Sahib I'm connected to, what are they? They're arrested by God. They say it themselves, we are arrested by God. We have no control over what happens with us and what's happening around us. It's all from Allah. Nothing is controlled by them. Nothing will be, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put that into their destiny. So until we stop begging for and desire of dunya, we will not be able to transcend into the world of the soul. And if you don't do it, if you continue to bombard yourself with the dunya issues and to materialize and more material and more physical gain, and your mission in life is to hoard, not to have that to do something for, the society, but to hoard, and you want more, and you can feel it. Every single individual feels it in themselves. It's all feelings. As soon as you're hoarding, you know you're not feeling good. You start feeling it, and you give as sadaqah, zakat, charity, you do good service, and you try to get rid of that feeling. But if you stop begging and stop desiring more and go in a state of nothingness and stay, alhamdulillah, I'm a beggar in front of you. Every part of my life is controlled by you. And then we just we put effort, and the blessings are from Allah and His Rasul. The results are from Allah and His Rasul. Only effort is required here. And the results are from Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Namaz karte ho, you do namaz, you do zikr. Are you truly thinking that all your deeds are good enough to, enter a paradise? No. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you just love Him, this is the key point I'm going to come down to. This is our iman. If you love Allah, you make zikr of Allah because you are thirsty of longing for Him and Him alone. That I desire nothing else, I desire only you. These faqirs of Allah, they would stand for years, sit for years, completely lost, immersed. They truly witness death, living in form. There's a saying of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, die before you die. And this death we talk about in different ways in today's society, just for language and make it simple, is to immerse yourself in such a meditation, in such zikr. When you do zikr, neither the zikr remains nor the zakir remains. Only the mazkur remains, meaning the only He remains. That you immerse yourself in this death. You actually practically put yourself in a death state by doing a meditation on this death. What is this death? When you do zikr, when you do meditation, when we focus on light here, when we say that there's nothing left, only nur of Allah, when the light of Allah is remaining, then you dive deep in your heart, you die there, you do not come back. Like Maulana Rum has given many examples, like the moth. Don't be the moth. When the wise moth tells him that, you went near the light, what did you experience? Oh, I saw the light, it's bright, it's beautiful. But he said that he's not the complete one. He's not the complete moth. Then a second moth went to the light and he said, oh, my wing felt the fire, and it was like this, it was like that. And then the wise, the murshid moth, he said that he is not the wise one, he still doesn't understand. And he sent the third moth. When the third moth went to the light, it never returned. And then what did that murshid moth say? That he is the truthful one. Why? Because he went into the fire, he felt it, he let it touch him, and he just burned in it because he felt the experience of it. Be that moth. That when you feel the light of Allah, when that door opens in you, when you do your zikr, when you sit in your seclusion, in your sacred space by yourself, truly remove all the distraction, dive deep into Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let that window open. When you close both eyes, a very sacred window opens within you if you don't know. And it will open if you are sincere. Do not let all the impulses distract you. All day we're like a computer system. We hear this, we hear it, we react on the impulse of it. And then we just say something because the impulse came, and catch those impulses. Because you're bigger than that. You're not this body, you are a soul. And beyond the soul is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're immersed in that death. Die from this state. Die before you die, so you can awaken back into your real self. And the danger only is when you feel scared of this state, you're only scared because you're thinking as the ego state. You're thinking from the nafs. That nafs is dying now. Nafs is scared to die. And nafs is trying to stay alive. So you come out of that beautiful state you're about to go into. You're about to get immersed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's ocean. Then you jump right back out. Why? Because the nafs is guiding you. The nafs should be recognized. It should be purified. It should become Muslim. It should become a believer. And now it will die and dive back into the ocean of Allah. Then nothing will remain then your iman will be La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us purify our inner self and constantly give priority to our spirituality, our faith, our working on ourselves, and understanding what it means to truly surrender the ego. Inshallah, we'll do zikr now and meditation, and then we'll end. Brother, just try to participate in the zikr. Okay. Recite with us and let God handle the rest. Okay. The intention, brothers and sisters, should be that I recite zikr and I do zikr only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing else. Meaning I only do zikr for my maker to connect with him. Everybody just get comfortable. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.